Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, total world victory of Hare Krishna. Welcome to another episode of Vaishnava Voices. My name is Sitapati Das.
And my name is Dana Devi.
And today we're talking about who is
Vishnu.
Who is Vishnu? Yeah. So this really, I love speaking about Vishnu, first of all.
Yes, you do.
I do. And, this episode was inspired by the Olympic Games opening ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw one video reaction to it, and the guy was saying the blue guy lying on the table during the Last Supper thing, it's Vishnu. He says it's Vishnu, and then he says, and one of Vishnu's avatars is Ishtar. And then he went into a whole thing.
Right.
And I was just like, dude, that is such a bad take.
Yeah.
Such a bad take. So let's start off by, I'll open a new browser tab window so I don't have to deal with all the millions of tabs that I have open. Let's have a look at Olympic Games, Last Supper.
Okay.
And we'll see if we can find an image of it so we can show people images. Yeah, here we go. Real easy.
That looks so funny.
Yeah, so present, share the screen. So here's some images from it. And so, this guy here, view file. So the claim this gentleman was making in the TikTok video was, this is Vishnu, and one of Vishnu's avatars is Ishtar. So I would say the reason why he's identifying this representation as representing Vishnu is because he's blue. And he's probably seen, hang on a second. Let me put it in here because our viewers are only seeing this screen.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's look for images of Vishnu, right? And if we look for images of Vishnu, I think can I share this entire browser window? Yeah, I can. Here we go. So we're going to use this browser.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that, his confusion comes from the fact that Vishnu is generally presented as having blue skin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, he's blue, Vishnu's blue, it's Vishnu.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they're saying that, Christians should be offended by this whole thing? You could take the case that Hindus should also be offended by that. I heard him say that this was Vishnu, and one of Vishnu's avatars is Ishtar, and I was personally offended. Let's have a look for Ishtar, who he reckons is an avatar of Vishnu. Not true. Inanna, Sumerian goddess. Ancient Mesopotamian goddess of love, war, and fertility. Well, okay, so I would say that what we're looking at here, this is more likely to be a representation of Bacchus, also known as Dionysus. So if we have a look for Bacchus, this is the Roman god.
But I don't think it appears as a blue. It's just one of those statues.
Yeah, those represent, the statues that we have are not painted. Apparently,
mm-hmm.
those, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that those statues were painted previously and that the paint is worn off them. I don't know if that's true or if they left them unpainted, but there you go. Did you know that among the Romans and the Greeks, a small penis was considered, if it was very large, it was considered to be low class. Yeah.
It's just a way to defend themselves, I guess.
What, for having a small penis?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Dionysus is the Greek name.
Right.
In ancient Greek religion and myth, Dionysus is the god of winemaking, orchards and fruit, vegetation, fertility, festivity, insanity, ritual madness, religious ecstasy, and theater. He was also known as Bacchus. That's kind of funny because someone made a joke about this thing and was like, why is everyone offended by this? It's just the god Burt Bacharach. who is a famous lounge singer from like Burt
Man.
Bacharach
Mm-hmm.
from the 60s and 70s. Spelled his name wrong there, but here he is. American pianist, composer, producer, Burt Bacharach. I wonder if his name actually comes from Bacchus. Let's do a bit of an investigation into this. I love etymology. I studied linguistics in university. I'm fascinated by it. Bacharach. It's a German name. Okay, if we do etymology, the origins, the name of the town, but the name of the town is going to be named after a person, probably Ashkenazi Jewish. Anyway, that's Bacharach. But Bacchus, the Roman god of agriculture, wine, and fertility. So Inanna, aka Ishtar, is the Mesopotamian goddess of love, war, and fertility. So wine, fertility, Dionysus. That's who I say this representation is more likely to be Bacchus, right? Festivity. If you look, the fruits, the flowers, it's Dionysian or Bacchanalian. That's the word. It's Bacchanalian. I think that's an English word. Bacchanalian? Let's try it like this. Bacchanalia. Unofficial, privately funded, popular Roman festivals of Bacchus, based on various ecstatic elements of the Greek Dionysia. Almost certainly associated with Rome's native cult of Liber and probably arrived in Rome itself around 200 BC. Like all mystery religions of the ancient world, very little is known of their rites. The cult was not banned. Background and development. The Bacchanalia were Roman festivals of Bacchus, the Greco-Roman god of wine, freedom, intoxication, and ecstasy, based on the Dionysia and the Dionysian mysteries. What else have we got in here? Everything's a cult, folks. Okay, but the interesting thing for me is that there's this jerga in South America, right?
Bacán.
Bacán, yeah. Jerga means like a slang. Bacán, so you say, que bacán. Let's see what the Spanish to English dictionary says about this word bacán. It means awesome, cool, pleasure lover, bon vivant, good life, good living, awesome guy, awesome girl, que bacán. La chica que conocí en Santa Marta es una bacana. The chick I met in Santa Marta is an awesome girl. So this word here, bacán, if I search for bacán etymology, we're doing just a digression into this before we get on to Lord Vishnu. So Wiktionary, bacán, etymology is missing or incomplete. Bacán, let's have a look. Etymology, stalk, a pimp, boss or owner, concubine, lover of a kept woman. These meanings have gone, these are from Argentina and Uruguay. Here we go. Colloquial in Ecuador, Peru, Chile, Colombia, Cuba. Awesome or cool. Okay, but what is the etymology? Borrowed from Ligurian bacán, boss or captain, from Turkish bakan. Interesting how the etymology that's given here is that. When I asked ChatGPT about this, ChatGPT said something else.
Something different.
Yeah, let's try ChatGPT again.
In case it changed its mind.
I doubt that it will have changed its mind.
Does it have a mind?
Evolución del término bacán. So it says here the Spanish word bacán has its origins in the Italian word bacano, which means noise or uproar. The term was brought to Latin America by Italian immigrants and evolved in meaning. In Argentina and Uruguay, bacán came to refer to someone who is wealthy, stylish, or living a life of luxury. Over time, its use has expanded in various Latin American countries to generally describe something or someone that is cool, great, or impressive. So I asked about the etymology of the Italian word bacano, and ChatGPT says bacano comes from medieval Latin, bacanum, which means uproar or clamor. This in turn is thought to be derived from bacari, a Latin verb meaning to revel or to riot, associated with the frenzied and noisy celebrations of Bacchus, the Roman god of wine. Hence, Baccano originally referred to loud, noisy celebrations or disturbances, eventually evolving to mean general noise or uproar in Italian. So in South America, when you say que bacán, it's a callback to the cult of Bacchus, to their, crazy rave festivals, and presided over by Bacchus or Dionysus, the god of wine, revelry, fertility, parties, festivities, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that this representation here is of Bacchus or Dionysus. But the fact that his skin is blue leads people to say this is Vishnu, but this is definitely not Vishnu. Vishnu is depicted with blue skin.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say at this point?
I think it's more representing like Vishnu was a gay guy sitting with flowers, pretending to be a female, or something like that.
Yeah.
And he has his midgets around.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like, for me, I take as an insult. Like, who is this small peanut brain that doesn't have much of a knowledge about who is really Vishnu? And they can present him like just this type of presentation. And yeah, so.
Yeah, well, given the whole context that he's set in, this is more a representation of Bacchus than Vishnu. The context and everything, just it's not Vishnu. The only thing that would kind of signal Vishnu or cause you to make an association with Vishnu is the blue skin.
Yeah, but you know what? Even if they painted with blue skin, like, do they did a little bit of a research why the blue skin? And
that's a good question.
Like, why would they, if they want to do this guy Bacchus or Bacchus, he's completely different. He's a Greek god or whatever.
Let's ask this question.
And Vishnu is not a Greek. And Vishnu is specific to Vishnu is the bluest skin. So they cannot say, we do not know that. And we just painted this person's blue. I think there is something meaningful here for them. Like, for me, it's kind of derogatory. Derogatory.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. And I don't think they can come up as like the person who created this event. I don't think they can come out as like, oh, we did not know about it and we just paint in blue. It's like, no, you did know this and you just using it to insult who actually he is, Vishnu.
It's a conspiracy theory. I like it. It rings true to me.
What do you mean? In what way true to you?
Well, you have to ask the question of why was this depiction made with blue skin? Because
exactly.
Not just Hindu deities, but if you have a look at, let's look at this picture here. If we look at Shukadev Goswami,
even Lord Vishnu, no Vishnu, what's his name?
If you see here, in this depiction of Shukadev Goswami, see how he's depicted with blue skin?
Yeah.
So in Indian Hindu artistic representation through painting, they'll have a painting of a group of people there, but the specific elevated personalities in the picture are represented by giving them a blue hue to their skin. Shukdev Goswami, there, he's blue.
Yeah, but he's representative of Krishna himself.
Yeah, exactly. So
yes.
it's a visual cue to the viewer about the nature and status of the personality. Like, here's a picture of Krishna, and Krishna in this picture is depicted with blue skin. But the descriptions of Krishna is that he is Shama Sundara. He has a complexion that is blackish like a thundercloud. So like the thunderclouds, before it starts to rain, the sky gets really dark and black, and that's Sham. Another name for Krishna is Sham, or blackish. But in depictions, he's depicted with blue skin. And that's following in this artistic convention that elevated personalities are depicted with blue skin.
Yeah, so I don't think that it's just like I don't know thing and they just put whatever color. I think there is a specific meaning here. Another way, in a way that if I observe that is all of these people in the background, I think there is some sort of like a prostitutes behind.
Well, they're transgender people.
Yeah, and then being like depicting Lord Vishnu as one of those common men, like associated with kind of low class people. It's like, no, he's Lord Vishnu.
I don't think it is Vishnu. I think what we're looking at here is borrowing from the artistic representation from the Indian subcontinent, from the Hindu, area, is that elevated celestial divine personalities are depicted with blue skin to cause them to pop out of the painting and indicate that this is like a divine personality. So if this were like a Hindu painting, then these would all be like Jiva Tattva, or just normal human people. And then this personality here is either of an avatar, or else is imbued with the power of an avatar, a Shakti Avesh avatar. Because Shukdev Goswami is Shakti Avesh, he's empowered by a particular potency of the Lord for a specific purpose in the world.
Okay, so in your observation, what do you think you're reading when you see all of this like performance?
This?
Yeah, I don't think like in what way this person can be a Shakti avatar of what?
I'm not saying that he is. I'm saying that what's happened here is in the kind of the vocabulary of representation, it's kind of like, how do we in the vocabulary of representation, it's a mashup, because you have a Greek or Roman god, Bacchus or Dionysus, and then he's been represented visually in this vignette using the visual vocabulary of Hinduism, where you will depict either an avatar or a elevated personality who's imbued with the potency of the Lord, of God, with blue skin. So it's a mashup. He's borrowed the visual vocabulary of Indian paintings.
Yeah, but it's a terrible mashed up, I would have to say. That's my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, so this is not Vishnu.
Nah.
He has blue skin, but that doesn't make him Vishnu. What blue skin signifies, because the guy the gentleman who made the assertion that this is Vishnu, he's picked up on the visual vocabulary of this picture, and then he's gone, so Vishnu is depicted as having blue skin, so it's Vishnu. But the fact is, Vishnu is not the only one depicted with blue skin. In an Indian painting, whoever the elevated personality is, whether they're divine or imbued with the power of the divine, is depicted with blue skin.
Yeah, but like the there is a depiction of color right there. Yep. However, only elevated people can have that. Mm-hmm. And can you see here, this is very degrading to me. How can you're gonna put a very degrading izin here with the pretending to be elevated personality? For me, it doesn't have that. It has more like an insult. Look at the background. They are not elevated people. In no way, they're not elevated. I don't think I can see them as elevated people. Now, this gentleman sitting like in flowers and everything, I don't think in any way I can see like, this personality is very elevated at all. It's like the whole is in here is very degrading.
Yeah, it's a mockery of Christianity, no doubt.
It's a complete mockery of religion here.
Broadly speaking, it's a mockery of religion.
And Christianity is chastity is there, personality as Jesus, they are highly venerated. In Hindu, demigods or God himself, they're worshipped. They don't have any degraded lifestyle like you can see here. So what they're trying to tell you is, God is just a a degraded person.
It reminds me of this. It's called the Alexamenos graffito,
Mhm.
also known as the graffito blasfemo or the blasphemous graffito.
Mm.
It's a piece of Roman graffiti scratched in plaster on the wall of a room near the Palatine Hill in Rome, Italy, and it's now in the Palatine Museum. Often called the earliest depiction of Jesus, the graffito is difficult to date, but it's been estimated to be made around the year 200 AD. The image seems to show a young man worshipping a crucified donkey-headed figure. The Greek inscription approximately translates to Alexamenos worships his god, indicating that the graffito was apparently meant to mock a Christian named Alexamenos. Now, what I've heard about this is that it was done by Roman legionaries, and that one of the legionaries was a here it is. To the left of the image is a young man, apparently intended to represent Alexamenos as a Roman soldier or guard, raising one hand in a gesture possibly suggesting worship. The name Alexamenos is also attested in, Anyway, it says here's this guy worshiping his God. So it has Jesus crucified on a cross. He's got a donkey head, and then this guy is like, so it's a mockery. Yeah. So it's this is clearly a mockery. It's a mashup, and then we can infer that the intent of this is to make a mockery of like religious iconography,
Yeah,
and representation.
Yeah, it's basically even the people in the background, like you read that one, who are those people? And if they are representing God himself, then it's they're making like such a low.
No, I know what it is. It's cultural appropriation. That's what this is. In the language of like woke intersectionality, critical theory, it's cultural appropriation. They've culturally appropriated the Last Supper, mashed it up with the cult of Bacchus, and then culturally appropriated the depiction of celestial or elevated personalities from Hindu visual depictions and given them blue skin. It's a mashup. It's okay. Neutrally, it's a mashup. Going into this atheistic critical theory, intersectionality, it's cultural appropriation, and then if you want to take it a step further, it's a mockery of religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what else can you expect from these kind of people? You know, they want to be God. They're dying, they're crying, they're doing all they can do to present themselves as gods, but they cannot ever be a God. Therefore, out of envy, out of jealousy, the only thing they can do is kind of like disrespect who actually God is and the people that worship him and insult in that way. There's nothing else interesting about that. Yeah.
I don't want to get too much into that because that's what they want people talking about. I wanted to talk about who is Lord Vishnu.
Okay, sure, let's do it.
Yeah. So
it's a bit more interesting here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the other stuff, everybody's commenting on that. But what was interesting to me was that this person had been, associatively triggered on the blue skin, identified it as Vishnu, and then made this claim that Ishtar is an avatar of Vishnu, which is not true at all. It's just one of those fake etymologies, like they say television, it means tell lie vision, where in fact the etymology is tele, meaning far, and visio, to see. So it means to see at a distance. That's what where television comes from.
Right.
But then they invent things like tell lie vision, it's like it tells lies. Those kind of etymologies are invented. They're fictitious, they're speculative, and they can reveal things to you when you contemplate them, but they're not accurate. And it's not accurate to say that Ishtar is an avatar of Vishnu. But who is Lord Vishnu? So according to Wikipedia, Vishnu is the, part of the triumvirate of the gods of the Hindu pantheon, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So let's have a look at what Wikipedia has to say about Vishnu. Who is Vishnu?
Probably a lot of lies.
Well, it won't be lies, but it's not necessarily
mashed up.
Yeah, it'll be a mashup. Okay, so one of the principal deities of Hinduism, the supreme being within Vaishnavism, one of the major traditions within contemporary Hinduism. Vishnu is known as the preserver within the Trimurti, the triple deity of supreme divinity that includes Brahma and Shiva. In Vaishnavism, Vishnu is the supreme being who creates, protects, and transforms the universe. According to Vaishnavism, the supreme being is with qualities, saguna, and has definite form, but is limitless, transcendent, and unchanging absolute Brahman and the primal Atman, self of the universe. Whenever the world is threatened with evil, chaos, and destructive forces, Vishnu descends in the form of an avatar incarnation to restore the cosmic order and protect Dharma. The Dashavatara are the 10 primary avatars of Vishnu. Out of these, Rama and Krishna are the most important. So this is actually, this here, I would say, if you want to get into the conspiracy theory of it, is what they're mocking by making Bacchus blue.
Yeah.
It's like, where is Vishnu now to save you? Okay, so here, Vishnu, also spelled Vishnu, Sanskrit, means all pervasive. And according to Medatita, one who is everything and inside everything. Vedanga scholar Yaksha from the 4th century before the Christian era in the Nirukta defines Vishnu as Vishnur Vishvatir Va Vyashnotir Va, one who enters everywhere, also adding Ata Yad Vishito Bhavati Tad Vishnur Bhavati, that which is free from fetters and bondage is Vishnu. So let's have a look at the Bhagavad Gita. Let's use Prabhupada.io. It's in the 18th chapter, text 61, maybe. Gosh, this site's taking a while to load. Okay, we're going to use Vedabase.io because it's faster.
Maybe not. Okay, sounds faster.
Yeah. Loading faster. Okay, the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and it's like around text 61. Nope, it's not 61. Let's have a look. Here we go. Text number 45. Sve kamanya birata samsidim labate nara svakarmanirata sidim yata vindati tachtrinu. Now hear from me how this can be done. By following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading. Sarvamidam tatam. Everything is pervaded. So who is all-pervading? So this is Vishnu. Vishnu is the source of all beings and is all-pervading. So he is depicted in his personal form, like this, but Vishnu is the soul of all of the souls.
Yeah.
So if we have a look at the
and Lord Vishnu has 3 different visions, right?
3 different what?
Versions of himself. Vishnu that lives in the atom, in the cell, atomic, in every atom.
Paramatma?
No. Oh, look at the diamond.
Let's have a look at one of these. Maybe this one? Yeah, okay, great. Okay, so I'm going to explain Vishnu. All-pervading. All-pervading. So yeah, so the Paramatma is within, it's the Param means super or supreme or topmost, and Atma means the soul. So the soul is the non-material, aka spiritual entity or energy that animates the material body and is also the experiencer of the material body.
Yeah.
So when the soul is not in contact with the material elements of the body is dead. When the soul is in contact with the material elements of the body is alive, and it manifests the 6 different stages of life, which is like birth, growth, reproduction, dwindling. Maybe there's
Old
a maintenance
age.
stage.
Old
age and death.
Yeah.
Dwindling is old age. So maybe maintenance is one of them. And so that's the soul, the individual soul. Now, the individual soul is called the Atman. So if we go back to here, it says in here, where did it talk about? Yeah.
Primal.
According to Vaishnavas, the Supreme Being, so God, the Supreme Being, the source of everything, is with qualities, saguna, he has qualities, and has definite form, and at the same time is limitless, transcendent, and unchanging absolute Brahman. So he's achintya beta, abheda tattva, simultaneously one with and different from, simultaneously personal and has a definite form, but at the same time limitless and all-pervading. Vishnu means all-pervading. And Vishnu is the primal Atman of the universe. So if we have a look at this depiction of a diamond here, this is described by Krishna, who is an avatar of Vishnu, or the source of Vishnu, in maybe it's chapter 13. Yeah. Arjuna said, "Oh my Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field, and the knower of the field, the Kshetra, and the Kshetragya, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge." Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "This body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, the Kshetra, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field." So I have a hand, I have a nose, I experience my hand and I experience my nose, but I'm not my hand, I'm not my nose. I'm the knower of the field of the body. That's the Kshetragya.
Yeah.
And then Krishna says, "O scion of Bharata," like descendant of Bharata, "you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies, in all bodies. And to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion." So within this body here, there is one consciousness, which is the experiencer of that body, and that's you. So you are experiencing that body in the same way that I'm experiencing this body. I don't have direct conscious experience of your body.
Nope.
You don't have direct conscious experience of my body. But Vishnu has direct conscious experience of both of our bodies, because Vishnu is the knower in all bodies. Here's one way that I like to think about it. It's like this. This is a diamond, and this diamond has many different facets to it. And when we examine the diamond, we can examine any one of these individual facets. And this is like the different individual living entities, conscious living entities around us. So, you know, you are one facet here, and there's another facet here. That's me. There's Isabella, there's Prahlad, there's Balaji, the cat, Blossom, the cow. The different facets. So when we're looking at the diamond and we're considering it, you know, from this superficial level here, we see many different facets. But now, if I look at any one of these facets and I look at it directly at it and I shift the depth of my vision, I can see into the heart of the diamond. And whichever of the facets of the diamond I look at, with my vision focused at that focal length, I will see the same heart of the diamond in all of them. And that is Vishnu. Vishnu is the soul of all of the souls. So Lord Vishnu is experiencing all of the bodies within the material universe. That's Vishnu. He's all pervading. But he's not only experiencing the conscious, what we consider to be the conscious living entities, also the things that we consider to be non-conscious, atoms, everything.
Yeah.
He's inside everything. He's bigger. Anur Aniyam Mahato Mahyam. He's bigger than the biggest.
Yeah.
And he's inside the smallest. So I taught Prahlad a prayer when he was 10. And there's you are bigger than the biggest, and you are inside the smallest. So it could have, and Prahlad said to me at the time, he said, shouldn't it be you're smaller than the smallest? So Anur Aniyam, smaller than the smallest, Mahato Mahyam, bigger than the biggest. But Anor Aniyam, inside the smallest, whatever the smallest thing is, inside that.
He's there.
Yeah. So now you're like, it's described in a language where it's paradoxical, nonsensical to say that he's inside the smallest thing, because if he's inside that thing, well, then he must be smaller than that thing.
Yeah.
But he's inside it in a transcendent sense. It's like another dimension. It's kind of like a Zen koan to consider that. Bigger than the biggest and inside the smallest. He's present everywhere and conscious of everything that's happening. That's Vishnu. And then there's, in this triumvirate, there's also Shiva. So if we go here and have a look at Shiva, Brahma and Shiva. So we'll look at these three. So Lord Shiva, also known as Mahadev, one of the principal deities of Hinduism, known as the destroyer. The supreme Shiva is the supreme Lord who creates, protects, and transforms the universes, according to the Shivites. So according to Vaishnava understanding, Lord Shiva, so these three, the triumvirate of Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. I saw a picture of, by the way, of Lord Brahma with his 4 heads painted on the side of a shop in Bali, up near Ubud.
Okay.
There's a big temple, actually. I think maybe it's Angkor Wat. It could be Angkor Wat, which is a temple of Brahma in like Cambodia or Thailand. But there's a story of how Brahma was cursed somehow that no one would ever worship him. So there are really no people around who worship Lord Brahma. But there are people.
That's true. Yeah, it's not like out there like Lord Brahma.
No, not like Shiva. You don't find any Brahma kirtan on YouTube, but you can find Shiva kirtan.
Yeah.
And you can find like Om Namo Shivaya, Shivoham. Actually, that's a song by Shankaracharya, Shivoham. Let's pull it up. Shivoham Shankara. Here it is. Nirvana Shatakam, composed by Adi Shankara. Mano Buddhi Ahankara Chitani Naham. Nacha Shrota Vijeve. Nacha Shrotav Jive. Nacha Grana Netre. Nacha Vyoma Bhumir Natejo Navayu. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. I am not any aspect of the mind like the intellect, the ego, or the memory. It's the landmark forum. I am not the organs of hearing, tasting, smelling, or seeing. I am not the space, nor the earth, nor fire, nor air. I am the form of consciousness and bliss, Chidananda Rupa. I am Shiva, that which is not. It's full landmark forum, isn't it? Day 3. If you're paying attention and you're not like getting distracted by the color of the carpet or the tone of the voice of the instructor.
Or the Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. These days when it's online. Nacha prana sangyo navai pancha vayu. Nava sapta datur nava pancha kosha. Not the 5 coverings, not the sapta dhatu, the 7 metals. Navak pani padam nacho pashta payu. Chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. I'm not the vital life energy, the prana, nor the 5 vital airs, manifestations of prana. I'm not the 7 essential ingredients, nor the 5 sheaths of the body. I am not any of the body parts like the mouth, the hands, the feet, etc. I am the form of consciousness and bliss. I am Shiva, that which is not. So Shiva means like consciousness. And so Lord Shiva, we have a picture of him that we can look at when we're talking about this. Here we go. He is, according to the Vaishnava Siddhanta, and this is in the, I think this is in, well, this mudra here is for like instruction, giving instructions. It is, I think this is in the Nectar of Devotion where this is described. So Lord Vishnu is the all-pervading source of all consciousness and being, the maintainer of the universe. Shiva is, he is not Vishnu Tattva, but he's not Jiva Tattva either. He is a specific Tattva or philosophical category distinct from the Jiva Tattva, the individual souls,
Mhm.
and distinct from Lord Vishnu. So if we go back to the diamond here, Vishnu Tattva is the all-pervading everything. And the Jiva Tattva are the different facets of the diamond, simultaneously one and different, Achintya Beta, Abheda Tattva. Now, what Shiva is 84%, has, according to the Nectar of Devotion, 84% of the qualities of the potency of Vishnu. And the maximum percentage of all the qualities and attributes of Vishnu that can be expressed by a Jiva Tattva is 78%. And that is Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma, according to the Vaishnava understanding, is like the supreme controller in the material universe. And he is a Jiva Tattva. So Brahma is kind of like the president or the prime minister in a country. He's like the topmost person, but he's also just a person.
Yeah.
But his post or his role that he's in is he's the guy who's in charge. He's like the CEO.
Yeah.
So Brahma is the CEO of the universe. And so a Jiva Tattva can be Brahma. And Brahma is a Jiva Tattva. And that's 78%. 84% is Shiva. And he is, so what Shiva is, according to this conception, is Shiva is the aggregate consciousness of all of the Jiva Tattva, all of the Jivas, the individual souls, who are in the material universe. So Shiva is called Vishnu in contact with the material energy. So all of the souls in the material world, from the microbes through to the caterpillars and the ants, to the birds,
To the bacteria.
everything,
humans.
the fish, the humans, the elephants, they're all animated by Jivas, souls, and the aggregate of all of those souls, because all of those souls are in contact with the material energy, and the aggregate of all of the souls in contact with the material energy, that aspect of reality, if you're looking at reality, if you're looking and you focus at a certain focal length, then you'll see or perceive Shiva. And Shiva is the aggregated consciousness of all of the Jivas in the material world. He is Vishnu in contact with the material energy. And then so even deeper than that is Vishnu, who is all-pervading and the source of all living beings. So Vishnu himself never comes into contact with material nature. And there are also Jiva, like Saguna, Jiva Tattva, in, performing activities and experiencing individuated consciousness outside of the material universe. And the material universe doesn't just mean the material universe that's perceptible to the particular bodies we inhabit right now, where we can see, we can't really see it, but you'll hear scientists talk about like the limits of the universe, like this universe is bounded in some sense. But according to the Bhagavatam, there are a number of different universes, like a multiverse, and in there it's described that the number of universes is comparable to the number of mustard seeds in a bucket. Like if you get a 20-liter bucket and you fill it up with those tiny little mustard seeds, there's like that many material universes. I mean, they're actually unlimited, right? But that gives you a sense of it, of scale. Like this universe that we inhabit, it's like, oh, it's so massive and it's like this big and everything. But like it's one, and it's one of the smallest among an infinite number of universes. And Shiva is the aggregated consciousness of all of the Jivas in the material universe.
Wow.
So he's between Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva. But Vishnu is another level beyond that. Vishnu is all-pervading and the source of all living beings in all the material universes and all the spiritual universes. So that's Lord Vishnu.
Beautiful.
Yeah, like from a philosophical perspective, that's who Vishnu is. This is not Vishnu. And this doesn't represent Vishnu either. This represents like, this would, from this perspective, represent a particular category of activity under the modes of material nature. Definitely. Particularly connected with the Rajagun and Tamagun, the modes of passion and ignorance.
Yeah.
like there are demigods that preside over these kind of things. So in Bhagavad Gita,
Well, more of ignorance,
Mhm.
and that's basically Lord Vishnu being in charge of.
no, presiding over the mode of ignorance is Lord Shiva.
Yeah.
Lord Vishnu presides over the mode of goodness.
No, that's what I'm saying. Shiva. Sorry, did I say Vishnu?
You said Vishnu.
Oh no, sorry, my bad. That's
It's
Lord Shiva. Also, Lord Shiva's
here.
he's in charge of the death of all of the ghosts that is in the, I guess, in the universes on Mother Earth.
Anyway, this is in
Yeah.
Men
of a small intelligence.
Yeah. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods. Here, 723.
Mm-hmm.
Alpameda saham. So those of small intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
The word alpa means small, meager, briefly, few, not advanced, small, unimportant. So small intelligence. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So there are, like we were talking about this diamond and how there's like, looking at these superficial facets, then understanding the deeper heart within the diamond, and then the relationship between the facets and the complete whole, the part and the complete whole.
Mm-hmm.
Srila Prabhupada would give another analogy of watering the tree at the root so that all of the leaves are satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding the relationship of the parts with the whole, and then there are also intermediates. So it doesn't just go, the facets and then Vishnu, because as you look in, you'll see Lord Shiva is there, the personification of, the aggregate consciousness of the jivas in the material world, and then Vishnu.
Mm-hmm.
So the universe is constructed in this way, and you can see it through analogy with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a look at your body, you can take cells from your body, and you can take them out of your body, and you can get them to continue to grow. Now, the cell has like a bounded immune system around it. It has a boundary which defines inside is the cell and outside is not the cell.
Yeah.
And it can draw things across the boundary, and then it can grow and reproduce. So a cell is a body.
Yeah.
And
I call them the tiny little soldiers. Mm-hmm. Soldiers, because they are doing their job. They're fighting against bacteria, depending what kind of cell we're talking about.
Yeah. So they're
working really hard.
So there are like, I don't know, 3 trillion cells or something in the human body. Some great number like that, right?
Yeah.
Each of those cells is itself a body, and it has a predominating jiva.
Even my skin is a cell.
Yeah. It's a collection of cells, right?
To cover all my skin, like my body.
So there's a predominating jiva of each of those cells, which means that there are 3 trillion jivas in this body.
I know.
But then there's one jiva, which is, you experiencing the entire body. So each of those cells has like, at some level, like a conscious awareness of the bounded, body of the cell.
Yeah.
But then there's like an aggregate of that. So those cells aggregate up into organs. So there's a heart, there's a liver, there's a kidney, and they all have an ahankara, or an I-forming energy, or a false ego, which defines their boundary with respect to the rest of the environment. And there's a predominating jiva of each of those. So there's a predominating jiva of the heart, a predominating jiva of the kidneys. So there is a consciousness experiencing being a kidney in your body. And there's a consciousness experiencing being a cell in your body.
Yeah.
And then there's one consciousness out of 3 trillion, which is experiencing being you, the driver and the experiencer of the entire aggregated thing. But it doesn't stop at that point.
No.
It continues.
Yeah.
So there are predominating personalities and jivas at all levels. There's predominating jivas and personalities of like a group of people, a town, a place, a planet,
Mm-hmm.
So there's Mother Bhumi, who is the god, the Mother Earth, goddess of the earth, Mother Bhumi.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is the aggregate. There's an aggregate which makes up the body of the earth, which is an aggregate of all of the bodies and all of the jivas. And then there's one jiva that experiences being the predominating jiva experiencing that. That's Bhumi.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is at every level. Everything that is expressed and manifested and has a distinction,
Mm-hmm.
because what makes things distinct is the ahankara, or the I-forming energy. So even things like revelry and festivity,
Mm-hmm.
there is a predominating deity or jiva personality in charge of that, and then there are predominating personalities under the different modes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what you're looking at here is a demigod. It's a representation of a demigod who is the presiding, and then there are cults that worship these demigods,
Mm-hmm.
and then they attain temporary results. So people who worship this particular demigod, what their whole thing is about, they're about festivities, sexual activity, intoxication, ecstasy, that kind of stuff. And Krishna says, men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Let's read Prabhupada's purport. You want to read it?
You don't.
Okay. Some commentators on the Bhagavad Gita say that one who worships a demigod can reach the Supreme Lord, but here it is clearly stated that the worshippers of demigods go to the different planetary systems where various demigods are situated, just as a worshipper of the sun achieves the sun, or a worshipper of the demigod of the moon achieves the moon. For example, here's another one, the moon itself.
Is a demigod, yeah.
It has a presiding demigod, yeah. Similarly, if anyone wants to worship a demigod like Indra, he can attain that particular god's planet. It is not that everyone, regardless of whatever demigod is worshipped, will reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is denied here, for it is clearly stated that the worshippers of demigods go to different planets in the material world, but the devotee of the Supreme Lord goes directly to the Supreme Planet of the Personality of Godhead. Here the point may be raised that if the demigods are different parts of the body of the Supreme Lord, then the same end should be achieved by worshipping them. However, worshippers of the demigods are less intelligent because they don't know to what part of the body food must be supplied. Some of them are so foolish that they claim that there are many parts and many ways to supply food. This isn't very sanguine. Can anyone supply food to the body through the ears or eyes? They do not know that these demigods are different parts of the universal body of the Supreme Lord, and in their ignorance, they believe that each and every demigod is a separate god and a competitor of the Supreme Lord. Not only are the demigods parts of the Supreme Lord, but ordinary living entities are also. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the Brahmanas are the head of the Supreme Lord, the Kshatriyas are his arms, the Vaishyas are his waist, the Shudras are his legs, and all serve different functions. Regardless of the situation, if one knows that both the demigods and he himself are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, his knowledge is perfect. But if he does not understand this, he achieves different planets where the demigods reside. This is not the same destination the devotee reaches.
Mm-hmm.
The results achieved by the demigods' benedictions are perishable because within this material world, the planets, the demigods, and their worshippers are all perishable. Therefore, it is clearly stated in this verse that all results achieved by worshipping demigods are perishable, and therefore such worship is performed by the less intelligent living entity. Because the pure devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional service of the Supreme Lord achieves eternal blissful existence that is full of knowledge. His achievements and those of the common worshipper of the demigods are different. The Supreme Lord is unlimited. His favor is unlimited. His mercy is unlimited. Therefore, the mercy of the Supreme Lord upon his pure devotees is unlimited.
Love it.
Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. Now, O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me, no one knows. So let's have a look. They do so in a wrong way. Let's go to the Bhagavad Gita. Here we go. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. It's impossible for humans to not worship. The religious impulse is part of what it is to be human. Every human being is always in a cult. And if you are that you're not in a cult, you're a brainwashed member of that cult. So in this,
there's no way out, is it?
No, there's not. There's no way out. You're in a cult. And so what we're seeing here is, like, you're watching the Olympics and you're like, I'm not religious or anything. You're a low-level member of this cult. And they, you know, if you analyze this cult and their rituals, you can understand what they are. They're worshippers of demigods. They worship demigods for, you know, particular powers. Just like the famous story of who was the guy who wanted to be able to make people's heads explode? Let's have a look for Ashutosha, which is the name of Lord Shiva.
Isn't he went in the cave and then
we started cutting off his own flesh in front of a fire.
I don't remember his name.
Let's go to here. Here Srila Prabhupada is speaking. See? But people do not know that. What do they not know? Let's have a look. So in this way, if we really want salvation, freedom from these clutches of Maya, that is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Daivihe shagunamayi mama maya duratyaya, Bhagavad Gita 7:14. This Maya is very, very hard to pass over. Duratyaya only means is mam eva ye prapradyante mayam etam taranti te. This is the version. Here it is also the same thing confirmed, Shreyamsi. If you want the ultimate goal means to get free from the conditional life, repetition of birth, death, old age, then you have to take shelter of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is not some sectarian deity of a specific religion. Vishnu means the all-pervading. If I ask the question, who is all-pervading? The only answer to that is, it is literally like a tautology. That is God. God is all-pervading. God is the source of everything. He is the source of everything, and he is simultaneously everywhere and nowhere in the material world. He has his own personal existence that is transcendent to everything. But people do not know that. Nate vidu svartagatim hi Vishnum, Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.31, Prahlad Maharaj. For temporary benefit, they go to worship other demigods, but that is not their ultimate goal. Alpavat tu phalam tesham tad bhavat yalpamedasam. Bhagavad Gita 7.23. Less intelligent worship the demigods. Antavat tu palam tesham. If you take any benediction from other demigods, that is antavat. That will be finished. That is temporary. Antavat tu palam tad bhavat yalpamedasam. Just like Lord Shiva's name is Ashutosha, he's very quickly becomes pleased to offer benediction. Therefore, generally people go to Ashutosha, Lord Shiva. He does not consider. If you can please him, you can take any kind of benediction from him, he'll be ready. All right, you take it, because he wants to avoid botheration. So when the devotees come, bother him, so just to get him out, he says, all right, whatever you like, you take and go away. Chuckles. Therefore, his name is Ashutosha. And people take the shelter of Ashutosha, Lord Shiva, for quick result. But Lord Vishnu is not like that. If you want something extraordinary from Lord Vishnu, it is not possible. He'll not give. Lord Brahma also. So here it is indicated, Shreyamsi, if you want your ultimate goal, then you take shelter of Vishnu, the Lord of Sattva Guna, the mode of goodness. Then you'll be benefited, not by others. But we are generally influenced by the Rajaguna and Tamoguna, lust and greediness. Therefore, kamais tais tayachrita jnana, Bhagavad Gita 7:20. We are lost of intelligence, influenced by lust and greediness, and therefore we take shelter of other demigods. Kamais tais tayachrita jnana yajante anya devataha, antavatu palam te sham tadbhavat yalpamedasam. Bhagavad Gita 7:23. Alpamedasam means people do not know. Suppose I take some material benefit, temporary benefit. Every material benefit is temporary. Whatever benefit we have in this life, as soon as this body's finished, all our benefit finished. This is why transhumanism, and they want to extend, they don't want to extend your life. They don't want to extend the life of the general populace.
No, don't extinguish.
The medical interventions posing as for your benefit are not meant to extend your life. They want to extend their life. Then I'll have to take another body, which may not even be human form of body. Sometimes we're too much attached to our present possession. We remain in the possession, but in a different form, There are many, Puranic incidences. That is a long story, that by karma, we take birth in different forms of life. And if we have got too much attachment, sometimes a person, the proprietor of the house after death, remains in that house as serpent, sometimes as dog, sometimes as tree. Being too much attached to the possession, they cannot get better life. And sometimes we can get the body of hog and monkey in Vrindavan also. That is a great science one has to learn, how the transformation of the body takes place, how our attachment acts in that way. Yam yam vapi smaran loke, Bhagavad Gita 8:6. This is a great science. Unfortunately, there is no educational system. Neither do they know the process of transmigration of the soul, so everyone is in ignorance. Everyone is in ignorance. Neither they're interested to take knowledge from the Vedic scripture. Everything is described there. Just like Srimad Bhagavatam, it is the end of knowledge. Vidya Bhagavata Vadhi. If one wants to be educated, he has to come to the limit of Srimad Bhagavatam, and all the sublime informations are there. Now, if we take instruction of Srimad Bhagavatam as it is indicated, every one of us should take to Krishna consciousness. It is clearly said, Shreyamsi tatra kalu sattvatano, sattvatanur nrinamsyu. Bhagavatam 1:2-23, Lord Vishnu. And Vishnu, the original Vishnu, is Lord Krishna. And if we take to Krishna, Krishna's shelter, Krishna also says, Sarvadamam parityaja mam ekam sharanam braja. Bhagavad Gita 18:66. So, the ultimate goal of life is to take shelter of Lord Vishnu, the all-pervading. He's all-pervading, and he's the source of all living beings. If we go back to our very first verse that we looked at, which was in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 8th chapter, text number 46. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. So people, they must worship someone, whether it's a man or a demigod. They must worship someone. The religious impulse must be answered in the human being.
Well, lately people are worshiping animals.
You mean animal like human beings?
No, like animal, People have more attention to dogs or cats.
Oh, yeah. So, they'll become that in their next life.
Yeah.
Whatever they meditate on. Yam yan vapi smaran bhavam tyajat yante kalevaram tam tam edaiti kaunteya.
And then, like in the last part you were reading, like lust and greediness. All of this, actually, the photo that you show, the Olympic thing, this is lust.
Yeah. It's unbridled lust. And
yeah, absolutely. This is lust.
Degradation.
There's nothing, lust is very powerful. And so powerful that can degrade it. degraded a person in no time.
Yeah, this is worship of the demigods in the modes of passion and ignorance. And, unless you distinguish that that's what's going on, you're just swept up in it. People who are like,
Yeah.
unless you are like the Olympics opening ceremony is demigod worship in the mode of Rajagun and Tamagun, in the mode of passion and ignorance. If you can't distinguish that, you're in the cult. You're a brainwashed member of the cult. It's a cult. Everybody is in a cult all the time. The only people who have any kind of power to their participation in it are the ones who are just flat that, yeah, we're in a cult. And the people who are running this whole thing, they're doing cult rituals. Like, you might go to the Hare Krishna restaurant and have some pakoras or whatever, but you're not getting up at 4:30 in the morning and chanting 16 rounds of the Maha Mantra and going and doing like 24-hour kirtan.
Yeah.
But there are people there who are doing that. And in the same way, you might go to the Olympic ceremony and watch it, and through your meditation and giving your attention to it, performing worship in that way through meditation, and by lending your conscious attention to it. And, you're not performing the same rituals that the people who are higher up in that cult are doing, but all you're doing is participating as a low-level, brainwashed member of the cult.
Doing funny stuff.
Yeah. So that's not Lord Vishnu.
Not at all.
That's Lord Vishnu. He's all pervading and he's the source of all living beings. Okay, what do you want to say to complete today's episode?
I guess it will take some education, spreading who is actually Lord Vishnu, for people to understand who he is. And as any general population, they're swept by what's going on right now, and like different cults, and people are just experiencing different cults, right? From, don't know, like kind of religious cults to non-religious cult, atheistic cults, satanic cults, the fashion cults, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, so a little bit of open-mindedness and discovering where you are and here and which cult you are. It will give you a little bit more guidance, I guess, in where you live in your life, how you live in your life. Yeah, that's me.
Okay, maybe it was in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Narayan 7084. Let's try 78%. $78.
Yeah.
Percent. Nectar of instruction? No, nectar of devotion. I'm trying to find where, because I cited this, and now I want to, first of all, make sure that I correctly cited it. Let's try this.
Maybe that one.
It may be in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Let's have a look. Shankaracharya is an incarnation of Lord Shiva. Let's just try percent. This is Rupa Goswami giving away 50% of his income. It's not in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Where did I read that? Maybe it was in the Bhagavatam. Nectar of devotion here. There's only 11 references to it. Results this devotional service. Okay, let's try Bhagavatam. Is that where I read it? 78 different references. Here we go. 1:328. All the expansions or categories of the Lord possess only some percentage of the attributes. Here we go. But Sri Krishna is the possessor of the attributes cent percent, and his personal expansions such as Swayam Prakasha and Tad Ekatma, up to the categories of the avatars who are all Vishnu Tattva, possess up to 93% of these transcendental attributes. Lord Shiva, who is neither Avatara nor Avesha nor in between them, possesses almost 84% of the attributes. But the jivas, or the individual living beings in different statuses of life, possess up to the limit of 78% of the attributes. In the conditioned state of material existence, the living being possesses these attributes in very minute quantity, varying in terms of the pious life of the living being. The most perfect of living beings is Brahma, the supreme administrator of one universe. He possesses 78% of the attributes in full. All other demigods have the same attributes in less quantity, whereas human beings possess the attributes in very minute quantity. The standard of perfection for a human being is to develop the attributes up to 78% in full. The living being can never possess attributes like Shiva, Vishnu, or Lord Krishna. A living being can become godly by developing the 78% transcendental attributes in fullness, but he can never become a god like Shiva, Vishnu, or Krishna. He can become a Brahma in due course, so he can become a CEO. The godly living beings who are all residents of the planet and the spiritual sky are eternal associates of God in different spiritual planets called Haridharma and Mahesh Dharma. And so let me find just where I said that Shiva is Vishnu in contact with material energy.
Okay.
So that was Bhagavatam 1:3. According to my memory, where I sourced that from, it's a conversation between Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada.
Okay.
See here, it says here that Karana Dakshai Vishnu, who lies in the causal ocean, so that's a Vishnu Tattva avatar, creates the universes merely by glancing upon the material creation. So the glance of Vishnu impregnates the jivas into the womb of the material energy. So the glance of Vishnu, so by looking at something, you don't actually come into contact with them. But just by looking, Vishnu is able to impregnate all of the Jiva Tattva in there, but that glance of Vishnu is itself, it comes into contact with the material energy, and all of those Jivas from that is Shiva. Due to his contact with the material energy, let us see if it's in, if I can look for transcript, book letter. And then if I add to it this, Sridhara, and then hang on, we should also include in this Shiva.
That's too fast.
So look at that last one here. He says about Durga as the material energy. So Lord Shiva is directly connected with the material energy. Vishnu is not directly related with the material energy. Yeah, so this example here, it was I'd read all of these things, but it became perfectly clear to me when in this conversation with So here, Durga is the material energy. So Lord Shiva is directly connected with the material energy. Therefore, he's less than Lord Vishnu. Vishnu is not directly related with the material energy. The example is given in the Brahma Samhita. Just like milk, as soon as in touch with something sour, it becomes yogurt. The yogurt is nothing but milk, but in connection with some sour material, it is yogurt. So yogurt is milk, but it is not milk also. So, yeah, that's Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is a devotee. Why not chant Hare Krishna, chant Hare Krishna? So, yeah, Lord Shiva is Vishnu in contact with the material energy. But he's not the totality of Vishnu, because not all of Vishnu is in contact with the material energy.
How much percent was that? 78?
84.
84. That's quite a lot.
84%.
Yeah.
According to that analysis. So there you have it. That is Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva. We covered all of them there. Let's finish with our picture of Lord Vishnu.
My head is coming out of the screen.
Jai Lord Vishnu. Well, Paramvi Jayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Total world victory of Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.